Okay. Morning, everyone. I believe we are live. My name is Jason Kergeson. I'm a cloud solution architect with BrainScale, and this morning I wanted to share with you cloud-based SIEM with Azure Sentinel. So we will go ahead and get started. Today, business IT has a significant issue with the expanding digital estate that's currently going on, from the Internet of Things to expanding cloud footprints on multiple platforms to supply chain integration. There's a large digital estate that we are simply having to adapt and determine our security footprint and adapt accordingly. In the past 3 years, there's been an increase in security data of 76%. The influx of that data has led to businesses scrambling and applying a variety of threat prevention technologies, oftentimes as many as a dozen in a single enterprise environment. The goal is to handle the larger footprint, but also to deal with the sophistication of ongoing threats. As there are more entryways into the environment, there are smarter and smarter ways of entering, thus we have to be able to adapt to that. With the growth of business in the cloud, we also have the footprint of deployment in those environments, and also, again, the security holes that entails. As it is now, with the amount of alerts that are coming in from various isolated threat protection systems, 44% of alerts are not even investigated. It's just an influx. There's too much noise that's coming in. It makes it difficult for enterprise IT security analysts to be able to keep up. With that being said, a lot of that comes down to the lack of automation in these environments. With these alerts coming in, how are they prioritized? How are they determined to be actual threats? A lot of that could be mitigated through automation, but much of that's not in place. Additionally, there's a great demand for security analysts. Right now, there's a 3.5 million employee gap in security jobs that's going to be for 2021. So how do we go about maintaining IT security with these gaps that are in place? Microsoft created Azure Sentinel to address this. Azure Sentinel is an intelligent cloud native SIEM. The idea is to be able to provide insights with existing experience, existing technologies in a relatively easy way to allow for a quick deployment of Azure Sentinel and provide value immediately to allow defenders to be able to use the best in breed practices. It also has the ability, since it's cloud native, to be able to scale to your growing digital needs. As a matter of fact, you do not pay for the infrastructure or upfront costs, whatnot. You only pay for what you use. It leverages machine learning and AI and the ability to implement automation to improve not only the effectiveness of your team, but the speed of response rates and the ability to obviously automate to help to prevent for future intrusions. Azure Sentinel provides an end-to-end solution for security operations. It starts first with the visibility aspect of collecting information. So you can connect to a myriad of various data sources, collecting that information, storing it into Azure's Azure Monitor, and being able to collect that information from various sources allows for the ability to query across those data sources, something that many threat protection systems are simply not able to do. Their data is their own. It's hard to connect to other data. On the detection side, Microsoft is able to leverage the analytics, the built-in log analytics ability for you to be able to use from hundreds of built-in queries to creating your own queries. There's a myriad of queries that are available to be downloaded and used from GitHub, for example. Additionally, as analysts are looking for threats, the hunting tools allow for them to quickly be able to assess situations, save those via bookmarks, and even escalate those into incidents. On the investigative side, the incidents side allows for cases to be created, assigned to analysts to analyze, and then when the incidents come to resolution, they can either be closed or can be assigned in automation so that these incidents can then be resolved for future cases that may occur. And for the response side of it, the automation, Azure has a visual way using logic apps to be able to create playbooks, to be able to create recurring automations that can effectively cut down on manpower and speed up your ability to respond. So let's go through the 10 steps to modernize your SIEM. We'll first start with visibility. So Azure Sentinel collects security data at a cloud scale from any source. So the benefit here is with its connectors, Sentinel can connect to native Microsoft products such as Azure or Microsoft 365, which have native connectors. So you can pull security alert information, activity data, etc., etc. You can also connect using the Ceph protocol or connect directly to Windows and Linux systems to pull syslogs from there. Connecting through Microsoft Graph allows for users to create queries to pull in relevant data through Azure's API. And of course, using the Taxi client, you can actually pull in threat indicators through their Sticks protocol. And then lastly, for any kind of connectors that are not in place yet, if they provide an API, Sentinel can simply connect to those APIs and pull in the information. That information is stored in Azure Monitor with log analytics. So that information is collected in a central location where machine learning can then take that data source and create models. Additionally, they have the ability to pull information real time. So you can, while you're performing a hunt, you can view active incidents. You can use workbooks to provide interactive dashboards. There are over 100 workbooks readily available now that you can simply plug in, so you can have the best in breed for a visual display of your information. If you want to create your own, you can either start with an existing workbook or create your own from scratch with your own queries. And it takes advantage of many of the benefits of the visualization tools that are currently available in Azure. And it does allow you to connect to more than one data source, so you can get rich information across various domains. Microsoft is adding additional data connectors quite often. With the GA, there are connections to most of the threat prevention systems, and the list keeps on growing. Currently, you can see there's many from Barracuda, Citrix to F5 firewalls. This list will continue to grow. By default, if you would like to use Azure Sentinel day one, connecting to these following services allows you to pull that information and ingest it for free. So you can try these out and leverage some of the benefits day one just by connecting to Azure's activity logs, Office 365, and alerts from Microsoft Threat Protection. On to analytics. The analytics engine is very powerful. It allows for you to be able to detect threats fairly quickly. There are 100+ built-in analytics rules, so these are a great start. Of course, you can always use the KQL queries of your own to create your own custom queries there. You can correlate events with your threat intelligence, and that includes Microsoft's URL intelligence. So this is relatively new and allows you to be able to detect threats and actually be able to see the threats down to screenshots of the individual machine. And then lastly, you're able to trigger automated playbooks to automate various processes. A great benefit of collecting all of this data is the use of the built-in machine learning. With, as you can see in the chart on the right, with the massive volume of activities going on, it's important to turn that data into actionable information. And Azure Sentinel does this out of the box, where it will turn those from activities, anomalies, down to suspects, and then into actionable incidents. This is invaluable. This will save countless amount of time and significantly reduce the risk of intrusion. So the built-in models, there's really no experience necessary. They're just simply already set up, they're already integrated throughout the system. So it will automatically start detecting anomalies, and you'll benefit from transfer learning. So as these models evolve and grow, you simply get the benefit of that. It does fuse data sources so that it will span various domains, and allows for the investigations to follow the kill chain, so you can see the full impact of an attack. And you can just simply connect your data and the learning just begins. The ability for you to bring your own ML models will be coming soon. Hunting. For analysts, this is where they would spend a good amount of time to assess the environment, especially if the mundane tasks they were previously using have been automated. With hunting, they can use built-in threat hunting queries, and that requires no experience initially as far as writing the queries. So the benefit there is if you have those that are experienced, they can leverage some of the best practices, and for those that are new, they can actually learn a bit about how to do the queries. You can customize and create your own, and of course, you can integrate hunting and investigations. So once you have pursued a hunt to where it's actionable, you can convert that into an incident. While you're doing the hunt, you can leverage bookmarks and live streams. With bookmarks, you can basically save your place for reference later or to share with others, or if you want to later convert that into an incident. And live streams allow you to view an incident as it's happening. It also has the ability to query and pull historical data, so you can see a series of events. For those who are already using Jupyter Notebooks, Jupyter Notebooks are now native to Azure Sentinel, so you can use them directly. You can also pull them from GitHub collections, so you can plug in to start your own notebooks. They are already able to be connected directly to Sentinel data with no additional work. And you can also connect to external data sources. And as per usual with Jupyter Notebooks, you can write in a variety of languages, so you can bring your own skills to the table from Python, SQL, KQL, R, etc. Incidents. When you start and track the investigations, they can be prioritized and assigned and resolved. So you can use these incidents to collect related alerts, events, and bookmarks. So an incident's not one particular piece of data, it's all relevant data that can be assigned to an incident. You can then manage the assignments and track the status and apply tagging so you can have appropriate reporting. And from these incidents, you can trigger automated playbooks. So this can be end-to-end automated to resolve issues as quickly as possible. Within this, you can visualize the entire attack through a graphical interface. As they say, analysts think in lists and hackers think in graphs. So Microsoft focused on the graph aspect of it, so analysts can get a leg up and truly be able to process and adapt to the information at hand. You can navigate the relationships between the various entities, and that allows them to be able to get to a root cause faster. You can expand the scope of the exploration by using exploration queries. So if you need additional information, it can be tied in and applied visually to the graphs. With the timeline of related alerts, events, and bookmarks, they can also go back in time and see when an incident had begun. This allows you to gain deep insights into the related entities, the users, domains, etc. And that visual aspect allows you to be able to drill in to the appropriate area for the best assessment. This allows you to have deeper insight, and you can have built-in automated detonation. So if there is an intrusion such as a phishing attack, those URLs can be captured and with machine learning be able to be detected, have the automation occur where the user would be notified on their end of the threat. With that threat, the analysis not only takes the initial information coming in, but follows it to the destination URL and is able to stop it ahead of time. It allows for alerts with verdicts, and the final URL and screenshots are actually associated directly to that detonation. Automated Automation is a significantly powerful tool. It can save a lot of time and can close doors quickly. They are created using logic apps. So the benefit here is that you have hundreds of connectors available to you, and through a non-programming interface, an analyst can easily create the playbooks that are needed and automate the process. There are many connectors available in GitHub, and the triggering a playbook can be from an alert or an incident investigation. There's also the ability to manually trigger the playbooks. Example playbooks can include incident management. That's where they can be assigned to an analyst as an open ticket. Can even be pushed out to ticketing systems such as ServiceNow or Jira. And then these incidents can automatically be kept in sync with the incident management system. And then communications can be passed via Teams, Slack, etc. Another example is enrichment and investigation. So there can be a lookup geo for an IP address. I can trigger Defender ATP investigation and then send a validation email to the user. And lastly, perhaps a more common scenario is the remediative aspect. When an intrusion is detected, an IP address can be blocked, a user's access can be blocked, conditional access can be assigned, or even a machine being isolated. Since Sentinel has been GA fairly recently, there have been a lot of updates, even to this point. This example shows a public preview, but these, I believe, have already been released through the current Azure Sentinel. You can see that there's many connectors, additional graphs and entities, GitHub integrations, URL detonation, which was in this presentation. And coming soon, there's going to be additional connectors, such as additional Microsoft services, Logstash, but also the ability for you to bring in your own ML models and a richer experience when you're doing your hunts to view entity pages. So there's rich information whenever you drill down to a particular entity's page that's available for reference. A case study, for example, was University of Phoenix. As we all know, University of Phoenix, with their online courses, has had a large digital footprint virtually from day one. The challenge has been that they're looking to become cloud native or do cloud first. So they had a large infrastructure of physical servers in their environment, and they found although they were moving to the cloud allowed for faster development, much of their work was still being done on premises. So they had to look at securing the on-prem environment as well as the cloud, and sharing all of that through Azure Active Directory to connect between the two. The result was that they were able to significantly reduce their security footprint, so much that they were able to take their analysts who were dealing with trying to determine what are actually actionable incidents. They're able to take them, retrain them, and put them into senior analyst or security engineers roles. So everyone gets to benefit from a smaller team, more efficient team. And as a result, they were able to still keep their current hardware, but keep it secure, so that they were able to save over $250,000 on infrastructure alone. To get started with Azure Sentinel, it's very straightforward. You just simply, when you have your Azure subscription, you simply create an Azure Sentinel instance. And then you can start with connecting data sources. The built-in ones are readily available, so you can choose Azure or Office 365, or add systems you can connect to them directly. Then you can start exploring the built-in hunts, automations, dashboards, and once you get familiar with that, which requires very little overhead, but allows you to learn in a hands-on way, then you can start to look at those and create your own, and you're off and running. So we at BrainScale have taken on creating webinars related to Azure Sentinel. Our goal is to create awareness and help people to adopt Azure Sentinel. So this is the first part of a 3-part series. This is Azure Sentinel 101. Our next one coming up, I believe, will be scheduled in a week to 2 weeks out, and that will be Sentinel in the Marketplace, where we cover the highlights of Sentinel, compare it to Security Center and Splunk, and look at the differentiators for Azure Sentinel. So we hope that you would be interested in participating in those. We do have a couple of links here that can help you help you there. If you'd like to go and see more about the seminars, you can sign up at the tinyurl.com/Sentinel webinar. And I'd be happy to discuss with you further if you have any questions about Azure Sentinel, or like to maybe have even a working session where we can walk through getting it set up and seeing the benefits and impacts to your environment. There's my contact information there if you'd like to reach out to me. I'd love to be able to help out. So this does conclude our webinar, and I wanted to open it up and see if we have any questions.
Looks like there are a couple questions in the chat. Oh, am I talking over somebody? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I see, as you mentioned, that historical data can be analyzed. Could you explain a little bit more? Is that historical data separate from or tied to the retention period of the data that is being analyzed?
A lot of that comes down to the data that's made available to Azure Sentinel. So if you set up a connection to, let's say, a threat protection system that has its own data source, it will pull that in and queue it and store it in Azure Monitor. And then real time that information will be available for Sentinel, for the analyst to be able to see visually and be able to step through. The key to your question is, with the retention period, is that source data then taken out? If it is, then it will automatically update in Azure Sentinel, and the current information would be available to it. So if you had for example, 3-year retention period, you'd only have 3 years of visibility to it. Azure Sentinel is not going to maintain that information. It'll be based upon your data source.
Great. Another question, do you have experience with Azure Lighthouse or have any tips for using it to manage Azure Sentinel?
That is a great question. That actually goes toward another webinar we are in the process of building. I personally have limited experience to Lighthouse, but we have other team members that actually are fairly advanced with that. So I would direct that. I'd say that if you can share your information with us, we'd be happy to get you in contact with one of them to address that.
How would you onboard on-prem Windows servers? Do you recommend the use of WEC, WEF, or install the monitoring agent on each server?
So that one's probably more advanced in this session. So I'd say we probably need to look at your specific instance to know what would be the best approach there. And what we would probably do is we look over that environment with you and actually look at what the best practices are for consumption with Azure Sentinel. I don't know what the preferred connection is. I know at least 2 of those are available, but I don't recall which one would be the preferred approach. Any other questions? Okay, so in wrapping up, I'd love it if you would, if you'd reach out to us, let us know what your current needs are, and we'd be glad to help in any way we can. We will have additional information that we'll send out to the participants here as a value add. We really appreciate you taking the time to sit through the webinar. I hope it was useful. Thank you very much. And we'll stay on for a bit if there are any additional questions.
Matthew has just asked a question. Pricing includes data usage and retention?
So that would go into the standard pricing for Azure Monitor and Log Analytics. So there's a part that has to do with the compute and the part that has to do with the storage, and those are separate costs. If you'd like, you can go to Azure's pricing calculator to get specifics on that.
And somebody asked, Jason, what's your favorite feature of Azure Sentinel?
That's a good one. My favorite feature would be the automation aspect. I think that once people get their hands on it and realize how effective it is right out of the box, the automation part allows us to move away from the mundane tasks and into the parts that are actually fun, the parts that make us enjoy our jobs. So as you saw with the University of Phoenix, they were able to take people out of the hot seat, if you will, and put them more into an analytical role, which I think really should be our jobs. We should manage the business, not have to deal with the day in and day out mundane tasks.
Perfect.
All right, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great afternoon. Look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, everybody. I'll be in touch with more information on the upcoming webinars, and so keep an eye out for that. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us individually.
That's how you unmute the microphone.